This video will cover setting up a results table in NCS Plus in Sierra Summit 3.1. So we'll want to go to the test protocol setup, either in edit test protocols or just the setup screen and test protocols. We'll go to NCS Plus, and the result tables are found in the test types tab because there are unique result tables per test type. So if you choose motor or F-wave, you'll have different result tables for each test type. And as well, within the result tables, you can have unique result tables in View 1, View 2, Tab Data, and Report, or you can have the same result tables in all tabs. So for example, if I had set up View 1 exactly how I want all my result tables, I am going to go to Copy Layout, and I can copy all those result tables to the other tabs, and now all of those tabs have the exact same result tables. And then if I wanted to go to one tab and maybe change something, I at least have a good starting point, and then I can just come in and say maybe I don't want to see normals or reference values in my report, so I can just go ahead and remove those particular columns from that particular tab. So that's kind of how this functions. So to start with, you can see here kind of the default settings. We have motor sites and motor segments, comparison tables, sites and segments, and then we have inter-nerve comparisons. So if you want to compare different nerves or different tests together. And then if you want to see that actual table, you'll check the box. So if this box is not checked, you won't see that table. So regardless of whether something is set up or not, if this is not checked, that will not be visible. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up a results table in a little bit different way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a result table where I can see latencies and velocity all in the same table, rather than having two separate tables like this. So just to show you how all of this works. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and delete what we have here. So I'm going to just right click and remove columns, or just remove all columns, gets rid of everything. And I'm going to now here add a section, and I'm going to add a motor section, and I want to see latency. So I'm going to click onset latency. And now within that section, I'm going to right click and add a parameter, and I want to see normal range. So now the section is onset latency, and I have the actual latency result and normal range. All of this I can label however I want. Maybe I want to rename this latency. I just double clicked in there to relabel. Maybe I want to have this in parentheses. So however you want it. And I'm going to add another section. Where you call this section. Let's have amplitude. And then within that section, I'm going to right click and add a parameter in that section called normal range. So now we have amplitude. I just want to rename this to be amplitude. And just to be consistent, let's just say I want to have parentheses around that. Latency amplitude. Now let's say I also want, let's do velocity. So I'm going to add a section. In this one, I'm going to add segments. So that's going to give me my segment. And then I'm going to add a section. And I'm going to add conduction velocity. So now we have latency, amplitude, and velocity all in one table. I probably want to have a section for distance. So I'm going to add a section. I'm going to put distance in here, so I'll place the type distance. And let's say I want to add a section, and I want to have a place for, I want to have a parameter, sorry, add a parameter. I want to have normal range for conduction velocity. Okay. And let's just say I want to call this velocity, and just consistency's sake, I'm going to keep this like this. So now we have latency, amplitude, and velocity all in one table. And now let's say I also want to see F-wave. So for that way, for the median motor, I can see the latency, amplitude, F response, and velocity all in one table. So I'm going to add a section, and it's going to be an F-wave, and I just want to see the shortest F latency, and maybe I want to see normal range. parameter, normal range. Let's call this F. Latency, so we haven't called F wave, but latency. Okay, so now we have that set up. So now I don't need this table, and we'll keep the left-right comparison table as it is for now. And then these show up in a different tab when you're doing the study itself. In the report, though, it's going to show up in the actual report. So now I'm happy with this table where I have latency, amplitude, F latency, and my velocity all in one table. I'm going to go into my F wave tab, and I'm going to uncheck these, which is already unchecked, because I don't need to see those because I'm showing F wave in this tab. And then I'm going to go into my tab data, and I actually want this to be the same. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to copy this layout to both my tab data and report, and why not view 2. So now we'll have all these views have the same layout: view 1, view 2, tab data, and report all now have the same layout. But let's say in the report I don't want to see the left-right comparison tables. I just want to see the regular result tables. I don't need that because I have all that information here. Tab data, same thing. I don't need to see this. I'll keep left-right comparison in there. And then in view 2, this looks good. It's the same as view 1. Okay, so now I want to add one more section, and I'm just going to add, I'm probably going to run out of room here, but I'm just going to add one more section, and this is going to be a comment section. This allows me to leave a comment per site, like move G1 or something like that just corresponds to this one site. So now that I have that set up, I will just go ahead and hit OK. And I'm going to start a study, so I'm going to go back into my Studies tab or my home screen and start a new study, and let's just try that out and see how it looks. And remember, that was a motor results table, so I'm going to choose a motor study. I'm going to turn on my simulator so I can get some real data. And so here is our setup. Now what I may want to do is I may want to give it more room since I can't see everything here, so I don't have to go like this. So I could either shorten this window in my setup screen, lengthen this out, or maybe even hide my study window if I'd rather have a bigger trace window. My other option would be to come in and just hide my study window. And so then if I want to see my study window, I'd have to actually click here to see that study window. So it's kind of up to you. I actually like my study window here, so I'm just going to reduce the size of my trace window a little bit. Give myself a little bit more room for results. I can also change the font size in the cogwheel. I can go to font size, change that to small or something. But I think I'd rather have it medium and just give it a little bit more room on both sides here so we can fit everything. All right. So now we have that how we want it. I like that layout, so I'm going to go to Edit and Save Test Parameters. Actually, first I'll go to View and Tile Windows. That just tightens up the windows. And Edit Save Test Parameters, and that way this will be kept for next time. So set that as my default view for NCS Plus. What the yellow boxes mean is it means that the reference value is based on some demographic that I haven't entered in yet, maybe birth date or BMI or something. So it's showing yellow because on this patient I didn't have, probably yes, because I didn't enter birth date or weight and height. So it's missing a demographic needed to list the reference value. So now we'll go ahead and just click some data and see how that looks. So there's our motor. There's our elbow. And then we'll do F wave. And then let's just say really good response there. And then we will go back, and I forgot to put in my distance here so we get a segment. So here's my distance, so it's 22 centimeters. The velocity and then I could put a comment in if I wanted to. I could have drop down setup or just type in any comment that I wanted there. And so there's my, so what's nice about this, I kind of like this because now in one table I can see all my median motor results. So I can see my latency, my amplitude, my F response, and my velocity all together. So that's how you can set up and change result tables. If I go to my left-right compare table, that's where I see my left-right compare result tables. And this is my other result tables. If I go to view 2, you'll notice I set it up the same way, but view 2, here's my result tables. So I could have different result tables in view 2. I could have a different workspace altogether, different grid. Right now it's just set up so I'm seeing all tests in view 2. You can actually edit result tables right from the testing screen as well. So right here in the result tables cogwheel, I can come in and edit result tables. So without even having to go, and I can, if I want to see, motor segment tables or whatever as well, I can go in here without even having to go into the test setup menu. So let's say I want to check this one too. Now I can come in, maybe I think this is a little bit too messy or too much data. So I'm just going to come in here and delete out the velocity. I'm going to leave it down into the motor segments table. Then we'll leave F way and just take out velocity. And now I can kind of reposition my windows however I want here. To get myself some more trace window. So that's how you can edit result tables both while you're in a test or in the test setup screen. Once I'm done, I would check that so it kind of locks it in, and then if I want to save it that way, go to Edit, Save Test Parameters. So that is your edit result tables. Just so you're aware from the cogwheel, you can also change font size from here. You can decide on your notepad whether you want word wrap. You can go into your color editor, and you can also get into your reference limits editor from here.